regardless. Chooses not to, because he wants to have that extra gold remaining. Does throw that Dwarven gold mine down, so that's fine. So right now, TSM player is behind. He's lost a bunch of military. Supply is definitely... Oh, wow. Supply is actually not in favour of Hells at all, so it's kind of interesting how that works. Hells is gonna hold on here, continuing to produce raiding cavalry. He might want to have thought about throwing down an extra longhouse on the way to the railway cage before this fight happened. Maybe would have been an idea, so he could have produced more units. What's the next thing? Okay, so now we know we have an advantage now. You have to think, how can we use it, and how can we abuse the fact that our military is more powerful than our enemy. So we have like 3 options. And the 3 options are, 1, boom, so we get upgrades, we get town centers, we keep on going like that. The second one is scout and find that gold mine, so he's probably, well, we know that the enemy is really low on gold, because he's not spending a lot of gold, so his gold mine should still be there, because they're only producing 35 gold toxitoes, and a minotaur which doesn't cost any gold at all. And 3, what's 3? 3 scouting split into 2 things, scouting for their town center getting taken and scouting for their gold mines. So we have to prevent what we can there. So there's only 2 real options. So scout or take boom. You can also do both of them, but it's depending on what you find. Scouting is more or less effective. However, you can get very lucky in that you can pick up a lot of stuff. And I think what we're going to see here is exactly that. Hells gets pretty lucky with this scout here. He's going to see a bunch of villages here. And I'm not sure if he noted them or not, but he does see the dead boar and he knows a lot of villages are here. So he does have the option to go and hit that there, raid, kill a bunch of villages and set TSM player back even further. He doesn't have the gold to get an extra town center yet. He is getting shaft mine, which I love. So he's doing both. He's booming and he's going to be scouting. So he's scouted and he's booming. So he's found what his enemy has and then he's going to start going and moving on from there. I also love the fact that he's using Healing Spring. He knows his opponent still has Restoration. Yeah, he knows his opponent still has Restoration, so he's going to re-heal his units in anticipation for that, and then continue from there. The Dwarves at the moment, extremely efficient gold mining. I think the Dwarven gold mine is more... It mines faster than normal gold mines, so he's going to have a lot more resources incoming like that, so he has to really throw down extra barracks in order to support that. But he is producing Off-Jars. Now, Off-Jars, extremely smart choice of unit. He could be getting Huskars, but the fact is they're only 50 food, and he's getting a bunch of gold coming in, so it's not really economically inefficient to do so. So it's smart to build the Off-Jars in order to counter the enemy myth units. She's only got 2, which is a little bit sad for him, but oh well. Continuing this, it looks like now it's time to attack. The enemy is grabbing the town center. We haven't scouted that yet, however we're definitely going to see it at some point. We should note that the score drop does happen, so TSM player has fallen behind, so either the TSM player is going to the roller cage or he is going to get that second town center. It's a very aggressive town center as well. It'd be much better to grab this back one, it's more safe, and you can be able to continue along for a little bit longer. However, Hells does now see this. If we pause now, it's already moving. It's on the move already. See, already here, coming in this way. It's going to be extremely smart to do that as well, because the enemy is going to want to chase this over here, and then there's another army going to come in over here, so it's going to be splitting up the enemy army. And if we see what happens there, if TSM player does start to move over here, which looks like he will, a little bit, or whenever he decides to retreat, he's just, at the moment, Hells is delaying this town center as much as possible. Trying to lose any units. He has got Copper Shield, which I love, especially because his opponent's so heavy on the Tox Toes. This army's going to come in, especially because this army's dragged over here, so it's getting him out of position. TSM player does note that he's going to regroup a little bit. If we play fast a little bit just to get these units into the fight. Now, right now we have Frost, and we can kill this entire army without losing anything. Plus our army is massive, so there's no way that there's no reason not to fight here. Our enemy does have restoration though, and he will use it to try and control and try and win this. But we just have, I think at this point in the game, Hells has too much armor. So this is something I like to call the early heroic age, right? The early heroic age is the best point in the game for a Thor player to do as much damage as possible, and that's because he has Frost, he has these Pulse Giles, he has these Medium Raiders, which are really powerful, and it's just so, I like to think of, there's like, on Nilla, not TT, I don't know about TT, but on Nilla, there's the three races. Zeus is really powerful in the classical age, in classical fights, and the mythic age. Isis is really powerful in the late heroic age and late mythic age. Norse is really powerful in early heroic age and early mythic age. So those are the points in the game where you really want to pressure, and early classical age as well. But yeah, that's neither here nor there. Hells is abusing the early heroic age in order to finish this game. If you can finish the game or at least get an extremely strong advantage at this point in the game, then that will always be good for you as a Norse player. So as soon as you hit heroic, it's going to be around the 12-minute mark or 10 to 12-minute mark. That's like your most powerful point in the game. Restoration should go off. It should have gone off before now. I think TSM played waited too long, so this fight's even less easy for the enemy. Even easier for. Did it already go off? Did I miss it? No. It looks like the settlement's gonna definitely go down. TSM player's gonna come back and try and one last fight. There's not much you can do. As soon as this gold mine's finished, Hells will come in, destroy that. He'll grab this town center as well while doing that, which is going to be at such an advantage. Especially supply-wise, 81 to 100, 15. Also, the trolls getting pumped out as well. So it's even harder for the Zeus player to really do anything because he only has the two heroes to pick off trolls. Again, it looks like he's been pumping a lot of villagers to wood. Just as a side note on the economy, he's starting to run out of hunt, and he needs to really think about transitioning into farm. So he's got that 16 villagers on wood, and he also needs to be getting bow saw at this point in the game. You got an advantage. Use that advantage well. Grab upgrades as well. Even if this wasn't as much of an advantage, but it's still an advantage, you still have to be thinking, okay, what if I don't win here? I have to continue to get further ahead, so I should get bow saw. I should get another town center, which when he gets the wood and gold he will do. Obviously he doesn't have it now. TSM player now sitting at 50 supplies, completely behind. There's nothing he can do to finish this game, to stay in this game. He might go for one last hurrah with restoration, but I think he waited too long on that. I think we'll go on to the next game. First, before we look at this game, just quickly review what just happened. Hells went for a Loki style, which is it's not necessarily exactly what Loki does. It's a Loki style. He gets raiding cavalry, he gets Herser, and he goes from there. And he tries to get to the heroic age really fast. He doesn't want to go through Braggy because it's not quite as powerful. He wants to go through Skadi so he can definitely secure that second gold mine. He also has that extra Dwarven gold mine, which is the which he did manage to use in order to not get gold starved. And furthermore, he then abused the fact that Thor is extremely powerful in the early heroic age, and he pushed in and won the game with his superior army. So let's view this game. Now the difference in this game is that it's not high hunt, so he can't go for that Loki style. There's 9 caribou over there and 6 there, 9 there. He's missing his set of caribou. He's got cut off as well, so that's even more of a disadvantage for him. There's not much he can do about it again. Going for the same build order, he wants to have that extra gold mine at the later in the game. So let's just speed through this early game because we don't need to watch the game. It's going to be pretty much exactly the same. He's not going to grab Pig Sticker like the last game because he needs the gold for the extra dwarves so he can advance. He doesn't want to get stuck behind. So there's the $100 going down. Don't think he might. I don't think we'll see kick sticker. He does have the favor, but he's producing a bunch of dwarfs at the moment. So as we don't have that food in order to go Hussar raiding cavalry, how do we beat a massive Minotaur talks to our army? Now, it's interesting because we don't have food, we can't produce mass villages. So you'd think that would take Ragnarok out of the equation, but we have dwarves, and dwarves can constantly be produced because we have 3,000 gold, 3,000 gold, potentially 3,000 gold up at the Dwarven gold mine here. So what's going to happen is we're going to see how Hells manages to get to that point in which he can really abuse the fact that his enemy went such a heavy myth unit army that he's not going to be able to counter at all what Hells does. So what Hells is going to be thinking, I know he's thinking, I can't beat him in the classical age, can't beat him in the early heroic age because I won't be able to produce many units there. I'm going to have to play for that early mythic age, right? So those are the things that you're always thinking about as a Norse player, knowing your advantages and playing to them well. It's a little bit unfortunate that his hunt's all the way over here when he went over here. There's not going to be any hunt over this side at all, but what can you do? Also, upgrade-wise, he's going through Freya. Has not got... He's getting hand axe and husbandry. Husbandry to fatten up these goats, gather them faster. Pickaxe so he can afford extra longhouses, get the tower upgrades, all that other stuff. It's always important to understand why someone's doing what they're doing. If we look at TSM player, he's doing exactly the same thing. Athena, 3 villages on favor, and so on and so forth. Okay, so 1 barracks, we go for the 2nd barracks as soon as possible. I think. Executions do. There's the next barracks and a house. I think he will go for 3 barracks instead of just 2 because spamming out the first house is going to be extremely heavy on food. So he's going to have to go for more pure raiding cavalry, some sort of thing like that. Again, the same sort of trend, it's standard. Producing dwarves to the gold mine so he can afford to pump out all of his raiding cavalry. He's going to try and get in here with his Valkyrie, which he's going to not manage to do. It's a big win for TSM player, but Hells knows the wood's here, so he's going to come over here and burn this wood. Wants to burn the back wood so he can come in and raid on this front wood, but this is a nice defensive position, so he can't really do anything like that. There's the 3rd barracks, producing nothing but raiding cavalry at the moment. So it's just a little bit idle. We can move over here. I don't think he's gonna start producing. Oh, he is gonna start again. 10 villages to gold, and then he starts building food villages. There's these trends which happen in every single game. No matter what sort of strategy you're doing with the economy, and that's the trends that like the 10 villages onto the gold, and then food, and the gatherers. So. There's nothing wrong. Also, I just want to note, there's nothing wrong with producing dwarves and putting them onto the what they call herdables. There's nothing wrong with producing dwarves onto herdables at all. Just because it's not as efficient doesn't mean anything. Okay, now is the distraction time. TSM player has no units, so we can run in and we can really distract. We don't want to let him mass up an army and then come kill us. We want to distract as much as possible. So basically we're going to run these raiding cavalry around, try and pick up villages here and there. If he can spot this place right here, it looks like he does spot it, so he's going to pick off 1 or 2 villages here, maybe just the 1, or not even 1 because he messed up there. Might have been a bit of lag or something.